The little boy's voice cut through the chaos like a knife through fog. "Mom, please help her." For a split second, the emergency room froze. Not because of the words, but because of who he was looking at. Elena Walker stood near the nurse's station, her worn blue scrubs marked by 12 hours of relentless work. Her hair was pulled back in a no-nonsense bun, silver strands glinting under fluorescent lights. At 52, she looked like what she was, tired, experienced, and unbreakable in ways most people never noticed. She wasn't the boy's mother. But the way he looked at her, eyes wide, desperate, trusting, said he believed she could save the world. Elena turned just as shouting erupted near Trauma Room 3. Two men were arguing loudly with a young nurse, their voices sharp with entitlement and anger. On the gurney behind them lay a young woman, unconscious, bruises dark against her pale skin. Her chart had just come in: assault victim, internal bleeding, needs immediate surgery. One of the men grabbed the nurse's wrist. "We're not done talking," he snapped. That was when Elena moved. She didn't run. She didn't shout. She walked, calm, steady, deliberate, like someone who had faced worse than this and survived it. "Let her go," Elena said, her voice low but firm. The taller man laughed. "And who are you, Grandma?" Elena met his eyes. There was no fear there. Only a quiet warning. "I'm the one telling you this ends now." He shoved her. It was the last mistake he would make. Elena pivoted, her movements precise, controlled, training buried deep in muscle memory snapping awake. She twisted his arm, using his own momentum, and slammed him into the wall with a force that echoed down the hallway. Before the second man could react, she swept his leg and drove him to the floor, pinning him with a knee to his chest. Gasps filled the room. Security came running seconds later, pulling the men away as they shouted threats and curses. Elena stepped back, breathing steady, hands trembling only slightly, not from fear, but from the surge of adrenaline she hadn't felt in years. The young nurse stared at her. How did you do that?" Elena looked down at her hands, flexed her fingers. "Practice," she said softly. She turned just in time to see the little boy standing near the door, clutching a stuffed bear. His face was streaked with tears. "Is she going to be okay?" he asked. Elena knelt so they were eye level. She gently wiped his cheek with the edge of her sleeve. "We're going to do everything we can," she said. "I promise." He nodded, trusting her with the kind of faith that could break a heart. The surgery was a success. The young woman, Sarah, survived. The boy, her son Noah, refused to leave Elena's side during the long night that followed. He fell asleep in a chair next to the nurse's station, his small hand wrapped around Elena's finger. When dawn came, Elena thought that would be the end of it. Just another shift. Another crisis survived. Another quiet victory no one would remember. She was wrong. The next morning, the hospital director called an emergency staff meeting. Whispers rippled through the room when they saw who was standing beside him, a tall man in full Navy dress uniform, ribbons lining his chest, posture straight as steel. "A Navy Admiral," someone murmured. Elena felt a strange tightening in her chest. The director cleared his throat. "This is Admiral James Walker." The world tilted. James Walker stepped forward, his sharp eyes scanning the room, until they landed on Elena. In that moment, the years fell away. The distance. The silence. The pain. "Good morning," the Admiral said. "I'm here because my grandson asked me to find the woman who saved his mother." A hush fell over the room. Elena swallowed hard. Noah stepped out from behind the Admiral's leg and pointed straight at her. "That's her. That's Mom." Tears blurred Elena's vision. James walked toward her, stopping just inches away. His voice, when he spoke, was no longer that of a high-ranking officer, but of a man humbled. "I didn't know where you were," he said quietly. I didn't know what you'd become. But yesterday, you protected my family when I couldn't. Elena laughed weakly through tears. You always were late to the emergencies, she said. He smiled, sad, grateful, proud. And you were always the strongest one in the room. The director explained everything then, how Elena had once served as a Navy combat medic, how she'd left quietly years ago to raise her daughter alone, how she'd never asked for recognition or thanks. The Admiral turned to the staff. This woman is a hero, he said. Not because she fought. But because she chose to care, every single day, long after the uniforms were gone. He saluted her. The room erupted in applause. Later, as the noise faded and life returned to normal, Elena sat with Noah in the hospital garden. He handed her the stuffed bear. For you, he said. So you don't forget us. Elena hugged him gently. I never could. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Elena realized something profound. Heroism doesn't always arrive with medals or rank. Sometimes it wears old scrubs, tired eyes, and a heart that refuses to give up. And sometimes, all it takes to change everything is a small voice saying, Mom, please help her.